Okay, so today we'll be talking about diffusion. And before we talk about what we have to do for today, I would like for us to do a recap on what we have covered in the previous lesson. So is there anyone that can explain for us what is meant by the word diffusion? How do you understand diffusion?
Diffusion is a movement of particles from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration.
Okay, that is correct. But please just remember that whenever you are giving your definition, you utilize the words higher and lower when you are differentiating and not low and high. All right.
Okay,
Okay, so let's continue with what we are going to do today. So now we are going to concentrate on the movement of substances in and out of the cells. So as you can see here, this is just a picture that shows the definition that Selma gave us in the previous slide. All right. So now there are specific learning objectives that you need to know. So for every lecture that we are doing, you need to follow the learning objectives. For those are the guides. It's what guides us onto what we need to know. All right. Okay, so we'll be starting with the factors that influence diffusion, such as when we are talking about limited surface area, temperature, concentration gradient, and the distance. And we'll also be looking at how to describe the importance of diffusion of gases and solids. All right, so let's get on with it. So when we are talking about the factors that influence diffusion, like I mentioned, what is happening? Eh. All right, sorry for that. So now when we are talking about the factors, we are concentrating at surface area. So is there anyone that can tell us what it means by the term surface area?
total exposed area of a solid object.
All right, so that is correct. Thank you, Dahafa. So now, yes, when we are looking at the surface area of an object, we are looking at the outside of it. So that is when we are referring to surface area. And then we are saying that the greater the surface area of the cell, the faster the rate of diffusion. So now we have that many cells which are adapted for diffusion have increased surface area. For instance, when we look at the alveoli in the human respiratory system, when we look at the picture just there, it shows two arrows, whereby one is of O2, which is pointing to the blood capillary. That is just showing that oxygen is diffusing from the alveolus going into the blood capillary because it is highly concentrated in the alveolus. That's why it's moving to the blood capillary where it is lower concentrated. All right. And then the carbon dioxide, however, it's diffusing from your blood into the alveolus so that the alveolus now you are able to breathe it out. Okay. And then when we look at the picture on our right, it shows the cross section of the leaf. Now there we can see that there is also two arrows that are just pointing to carbon dioxide and oxygen. We already know that the plants, they take in carbon dioxide that we are breathing out and they release oxygen that we have now to take in. So meaning that the carbon dioxide is highly concentrated in the air and then lower concentrated in the leaf. So now the leaf has a large surface area that allows now what? Gaseous exchange to take place. All right, let's move on to the second factor. Now, the second factor is referring to, just a moment. The second factor is referring to the distance. So now we already know that the longer the distance, or the longer the distance, the slower the rate of diffusion is going to be. For instance, I have a perfume bottle here. So if I am to spray it from where I am, that means that it is going to be highly concentrated where I am seated, and then the people that are closer to me are going to get the scent of the perfume before it reaches those that are further away. So meaning that the vice versa just means that the shorter the travel distance for the particles, then the faster the rate of diffusion. Right, and then we move on to the other one, which is temperature. So now for temperature, when we are dealing with temperature, we are having that with the higher temperature, we already know that the particles, they gain kinetic energy. And as they gain kinetic energy, that means that they are going to increase the rate of diffusion. Let's take, for instance, a good example. I think you all had a cup of tea or a cup of coffee in the morning, right? So the reason why we make tea with hot water and not cold water is because we want to speed up the process. So then diffusion happens faster when you are having hot water. So again, meaning that the higher the temperature, the faster the rate of diffusion. All right, then we move on to the last one. What is happening with this thing? Excuse me. The last one, which is the concentration gradient. Now, the concentration gradient here that we are having, we are saying that the concentration gradient is defined as the difference in the concentration between the higher and the lower concentration. So now we are saying that the greater the difference in concentration of the molecules, the faster the rate of diffusion is going to be. All right. And then now, oh, okay. So for now, we were looking at the concentration gradient. All right. So we are just going to see, just a moment. We are just going to look at the importance of diffusion. Why is diffusion of gases and solids important to plants and animals? By animals, we mean humans and, the other type of animals, such as chimpanzees, dogs, goats, and whatsoever. All right. So we can say that diffusion is what allows the gaseous exchange to take place in plants and animals. All right, whereby like I mentioned already, in plants, carbon dioxide have to diffuse from the air, which is where it is highly concentrated, moving into the leaf through the stomata, where it is lower concentrated. And then in animals, we inhale oxygen that is from the air, and we exhale carbon dioxide. All of that is due to diffusion. All right. And then we have now the importance of solutes. All right. So for solutes, we are talking about something that have to dissolve. Okay. So it was broken down. Now it have to dissolve, or it have to be absorbed. All right. So then we are looking at substances that, for instance, when we eat food, all right, when we eat food, that food undergoes digestion. And then, of course, it have to be absorbed by the ileum, which we are saying is the small intestine. And then now, with the help of diffusion, then that food then moves from the smaller intestines into the blood capillaries. Okay, so now we are talking about by solutes, we are talking about glucose and amino acids, so that now that glucose can be transported to the the rest of your body parts, so you can use it for energy. All right, and then we are moving on to the homework. So for our homework, I just want you to explain how diffusion happens when you put a solid block of sugar in a water solution. How does the whole diffusion happen? Okay, because here I was just mentioning the gases and the liquids, but I didn't mention anything about the solid. So this is due during the next class. So when you come for next class, please make sure that your homework is completed, and that is that. Do you have any questions? All right, there's no one that is saying anything. So I would assume that the lesson was clear. So with that said, have a good day and thank you for attending the class today.
Thank you to Miss.